One talk shattered them. What dark secret will drag this family into chaos? The birthday talk. The summer sun hung low over the sprawling suburbs of Austin, Texas, casting a golden glow through the wide windows of the Harper family's two-story home. It was July 12th, 2024, and the house buzzed with the kind of chaotic joy that only a teenager's birthday could bring. Balloons bobbed against the ceiling, their strings swaying in the breeze from an overworked air conditioner. The kitchen counter was a battlefield of pizza boxes, soda cans, and a half-demolished chocolate cake, its frosting smeared like war paint across paper plates. James Harper, a broad-shouldered man in his late 40s with a salt and pepper beard, leaned back in a creaky dining chair, wiping crumbs from his flannel shirt. His youngest son, Ethan, had just turned 14, and the day had been a whirlwind of gifts, laughter, and the kind of sugar-fueled energy that made James feel every one of his years. Ethan, all gangly limbs and freckles, was sprawled on the living room couch, clutching a new skateboard, his prized birthday haul. The boy's hazel eyes sparkled with excitement as he recounted tricks he planned to nail at the local skate park. James's wife, Laura, was in the kitchen, her auburn hair tied back as she scrubbed at a stubborn icing stain on the counter. At 45, she still had the quick smile that had caught James's attention 2 decades ago at a community barbecue. Their marriage wasn't perfect, nobody's was, but it was solid, built on a foundation of mutual respect and a shared sense of humor that had carried them through sleepless nights with newborns and the occasional financial scare. The living room was a cozy mess, with Ethan's friends having left just an hour ago. James's daughter, Chloe, 17 and sharp-witted, was curled up in an armchair, her phone glowing as she scrolled through social media. Beside her sat Mia, the girlfriend of James's oldest son, Noah. Mia, 22, was a bright presence in the family, outgoing, with a laugh that could fill a room and a knack for making everyone feel at ease. Her dark curls bounced as she leaned forward, teasing Chloe about a meme. Noah, 23 and lanky like his father had been at that age, was slumped on the other end of the couch, his attention buried in his phone. James caught Ethan's eye and nodded toward the backyard. "Come on, bud. Let's get some air before you pass out from all that cake." Ethan grinned and hopped up, grabbing a soda can as he followed his dad through the sliding glass door. The backyard was a modest oasis, a patchy lawn framed by a wooden fence, with a weathered patio table and a string of fairy lights Laura had hung last summer. James settled into a chair, the metal cool against his back, and Ethan perched on the table's edge, swinging his legs. "So," James said, cracking open his own soda. "Big day, huh? 14's a milestone." Ethan shrugged, but his grin betrayed his excitement. "Yeah, I guess. The board's awesome, Dad. Thanks. Glad you like it. Your mom and I figured it was time to upgrade from that wobbly hand-me-down." James took a sip, then leaned forward, his tone shifting to something softer. "Speaking of upgrades, we've been talking, and we think you're ready to start dating. If you want to, that is." Ethan's eyes widened, and he nearly dropped his soda. "For real? Like, you're cool with it?" James chuckled. "Yeah, for real. You're growing up, and you've got a good head on your shoulders. But it's not all fun and games, you know. Relationships take work." Ethan tilted his head, curious. "You and Mom make it look easy. You guys, like, never fight." "Oh, we fight," James said, laughing. "We just don't air it out in front of you kids. Marriage, any relationship, really, is about respect. You mess that up, and the whole thing falls apart." Ethan nodded, sipping his soda. "So, what do I do? Like, how do I not screw it up?" James leaned back, the fairy lights casting a soft glow across his face. He wasn't one for long speeches, but Ethan's earnestness tugged at him. All right, here's the deal. First off, always be ready to say you're sorry. Even if you're dead sure you're right, doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care more about her than your ego. Ethan smirked. Even if she's totally wrong? Especially then, James said, pointing a finger. Her feelings are real, even if you don't get why she's upset. Don't brush them off. Listen, really listen. If she's talking, put down your phone, mute the TV, whatever. Give her your full attention. Ethan nodded, soaking it in. James went on, his voice steady but warm. Communicate. If something's bugging you, say it. Don't bottle it up. That's how resentment grows. And don't just talk at her. Have a real conversation. End every talk with something sweet. A hug. A love you. Whatever feels right. Makes her feel valued. Got it, Ethan said, though James could tell the kid was still processing. And don't half-ass it, James added. Tell her you're thinking about her. Not just when you're trying to impress her. Do it randomly. Text her in the middle of the day, just cause. But only if you mean it. If you stop meaning it, figure out why. Fix it or walk away clean. Trust is everything, Ethan. Break it, and you might never get it back. Ethan's brow furrowed. What if? I don't know. What if I mess up? You will, James said bluntly. We all do. The trick is owning it. Respect's the foundation, more than love even. Love's great, but without respect, it's just noise. If you don't respect her, or she doesn't respect you, talk it out. If it can't be fixed, let it go. Otherwise, you're both miserable. Ethan laughed, shaking his head. Man, this sounds like a lot. It is, James admitted, grinning, but it's worth it. Oh, and one more thing. My dad told me this, and it's gold. You'll know a girl's comfortable with you when she's okay farting in front of you. Don't propose till that happens. Ethan burst out laughing, nearly choking on his soda. Dude, gross. Grandpa said that? Yup. Sage advice, kid. James winked, and for a moment, they were just father and son, laughing under the Texas stars. Inside, Chloe glanced up from her phone, catching Mia's eye. Dad's out there giving Ethan the relationship talk, she said, smirking. Poor kid's gonna be scarred for life. Mia smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She shifted on the couch, her gaze flicking to Noah, who was still glued to his phone, oblivious to the world. Chloe noticed and nudged Mia's arm. You okay? Yeah, just listening, Mia said softly. She tucked a curl behind her ear, her expression unreadable. James and Ethan kept talking, their voices drifting through the open door. James shared more, stories from his own dating days, mistakes he'd made, lessons Laura had taught him. Chloe chimed in from the living room, tossing out her own advice. Don't take her to a movie on the first date, she called. You can't talk, so it's awkward. Try coffee or mini golf, something fun. Good call, James shouted back, chuckling. Mia stayed quiet, her fingers twisting the hem of her shirt. Once or twice, James caught her looking at Noah, her eyes sharp with something he couldn't place. Hurt, maybe, or frustration. Noah didn't notice, his thumbs flying over his screen. Eventually, Noah stood, stretching. Yo, Ethan, happy birthday, man. He tossed a small wrapped box onto the table, a new set of skateboard bearings, practical but thoughtful. Gotta roll, though. Mia, you ready? Mia nodded, her smile tight. Sure. They said quick goodbyes, Noah barely acknowledging Mia as they headed for the door. James watched them go, a nagging feeling settling in his gut. Mia was usually a chatterbox, but tonight she'd been a ghost. Noah, too, had been off, distant, even for him. Laura joined James on the patio, slipping an arm around his waist. Good talk with Ethan? Yeah, James said, still staring at the door. Hope he listens. He will, Laura said. You're a good dad. James snorted. Tell that to Noah. Kid barely looked up from his phone. Laura's brow creased, but she didn't push it. They cleaned up the birthday mess, the house settling into its usual quiet. For James, the night felt like a win. Ethan's grin, the family together, a milestone marked. But that nagging feeling lingered, like a storm cloud on the horizon. Part 2. The Fallout. A week later, the Harper house was quieter, the birthday buzz long gone. James was in his garage, tinkering with an old motorcycle he'd been restoring for years. The air smelled of oil and sawdust, and a classic rock playlist hummed from a battered speaker. He was wrist-deep in a carburetor when Chloe burst through the door, her face a mix of anger and worry. "Dad, you need to talk to Noah," she said, crossing her arms. James wiped his hands on a rag, frowning. "What's up? He okay?" "No, he's not," Chloe snapped. "Mia dumped him, and he's blaming you." James froze, the rag dangling from his hand. "Me? What the hell did I do?" Chloe sighed, leaning against the workbench. "It's about the stuff you said to Ethan at the birthday party." Mia was listening, and I don't know. She started thinking about her and Noah. She confronted him about some things, and it blew up. James's mind raced back to that night, his advice to Ethan, the laughter, Mia's quiet stares. "What things?" he asked, his voice low. Chloe hesitated, then spilled it. "Mia said Noah doesn't respect her. Like, he ignores her when she's upset, blows off her opinions. She felt like he wasn't even trying. After hearing you talk about respect and all that, she couldn't unsee it." James's stomach twisted. He'd meant to help Ethan, not stir up trouble. "So she dumped him because of my advice?" "Not exactly," Chloe said. "There's more, but—" "Noah's pissed, Dad. He's coming over tonight to talk to you." James nodded, his jaw tight. "All right. Thanks for the heads up." Chloe lingered, then added, "Mia's really hurt, Dad. She's been over a couple times since, just to hang out with me. She's not okay." James rubbed his temples, the weight of it settling in. "I'll fix this, or try to." That evening, Noah showed up, his truck screeching into the driveway. James met him at the front door, Laura hovering nearby. Noah's face was a storm, red-rimmed eyes, clenched fists. He didn't waste time. "You ruined everything, Dad," he spat, pacing the living room. "Mia's gone because of you. That crap you said to Ethan? She heard it, and now she thinks I'm some asshole who doesn't care about her." James held up a hand, keeping his voice steady. "Slow down, Noah. Tell me what happened." Noah's words tumbled out, a mix of anger and hurt. Mia had confronted him the night of Ethan's birthday, after they'd left. She'd brought up things he'd done, or hadn't done, ignoring her when she needed to talk, dismissing her feelings about his late nights at work, laughing off her worries about his new online friends. She'd said she deserved better, and then she was gone. James listened, his heart sinking. He'd seen Noah's distance, the way he'd tuned Mia out, but he hadn't realized how deep it ran. "Son, I wasn't trying to hurt you. I was just giving Ethan some pointers. If Mia heard it and saw something missing in your relationship, that's not on me." Noah's eyes flashed. "It is on you. You made her think I'm a bad boyfriend. You should have kept your mouth shut." Laura stepped in, her voice calm but firm. "Noah, your dad didn't break you two up. If Mia felt disrespected, that's something you need to look at. Relationships don't end over one conversation." Noah deflated, sinking onto the couch. "She won't even talk to me now. What am I supposed to do?" James sat across from him, choosing his words carefully. "You start by listening to what she said. If she felt ignored, ask yourself why. Did you make her feel valued? Did you show up when she needed you?" Noah stared at the floor, silent. James pressed on. "I messed up plenty when I was your age, still do. But you can't blame everyone else when things go south. Own it, Noah. That's how you grow." Noah didn't respond, just grabbed his keys and left, the door slamming behind him. James looked at Laura, who squeezed his hand. "He'll come around," she said, but her eyes were worried. Over the next few days, James couldn't shake the guilt. Had he been too blunt with Ethan? Should he have noticed Mia's discomfort? He threw himself into work, managing a construction crew downtown, but the questions followed him. Laura reached out to Mia, hoping to check in, and that's when the real truth came crashing down. Part 3. The Truth. It was a muggy Tuesday evening when Laura sat James down at the kitchen table, her face pale. Ethan and Chloe were upstairs, leaving the house unusually quiet. Laura's hands trembled as she set her phone down, a text thread open. "I talked to Mia," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's worse than we thought." James braced himself. "What did she say?" Laura took a deep breath. Noah wasn't just distant. He was unfaithful. Not physically, maybe, but emotionally. Mia found messages on his phone. He's been talking to other women online, flirting, sending explicit stuff. James's vision blurred, rage and disbelief colliding in his chest. "What?" "There's more," Laura said, her voice breaking. "He's been deep into some dark corners of the internet. Forums, influencers, all that toxic stuff. Mia said he's changed, started saying things that scared her, about women, about relationships. She tried to talk to him, but he shut her down." James stood, pacing the kitchen, his hands clenched. "How did we not see this? He's our son, Laura. How did he get here?" Laura's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know. But Mia's devastated. She saw those messages the night of Ethan's party. That's why she was so quiet." James's mind flashed to Noah's phone obsession, his defensiveness. The pieces clicked, and the picture was ugly. He thought of Mia's hurt, Ethan's innocence, Chloe's worry, and Noah, his boy, the one he'd taught to ride a bike, to throw a spiral, had betrayed not just Mia, but everything James thought he'd instilled in him. "I'm talking to him," James said, grabbing his keys. "Now." Laura caught his arm. "Wait, you're angry. We both are. But yelling won't fix this." James pulled away, his voice raw. "He needs to hear it, Laura. He needs to know this isn't okay." He drove to Noah's apartment, a cramped unit near the university. The confrontation was a blur of shouting and silences. Noah denied it at first, then tried to downplay it. "It's just online, Dad. It's not real." "Not real?" James roared. "You broke her trust, Noah. You hurt her. That's as real as it gets." Noah's defiance crumbled, but he didn't apologize. James left him with one last order. "Don't come home until you're ready to own this, and mean it." Back home, James sat in the dark, the weight of failure crushing him. He'd given Ethan advice about respect, love, trust, but Noah hadn't learned it. Where had he gone wrong? Had he been too soft, too busy, too blind? Laura found him, her presence a quiet anchor. "We'll get through this," she said, her hand on his. "I don't know how," James admitted. "I don't know if he's still the kid we raised." "He's still ours," Laura said, "and he's not done growing." Part 4. The aftermath days turned to weeks, and the Harper house felt like it was holding its breath. Noah kept his distance, texting Laura sporadically, but avoiding James. Ethan, blissfully unaware of the full story, threw himself into skateboarding and school, his innocence a small comfort. Chloe, torn between loyalty to her brother and her friendship with Mia, started spending more time with Mia, who still came by to hang out. One afternoon, Mia showed up with a shy smile, holding James's favorite coffee mug. She locked eyes with Laura and said, "Abracadabra," before darting to the kitchen, giggling. Laura chased her, laughing, and for a moment, the house felt alive again. James watched, grateful for Mia's resilience, but his heart ached for Noah. He finally tracked Noah down at a local diner where his son was nursing a coffee, looking older than his years. They talked, not yelled for once. Noah admitted to the messages, the flirting, the pull of online voices that made him feel powerful, validated. He'd taken a job offer in Denver, a chance to start over. "I messed up, Dad," Noah said, his voice small. "I don't know how to fix it." James leaned forward, his anger tempered by hope. "You start by being honest. With Mia, with yourself. You've got a lot to unlearn, son, but you're not done yet." Noah nodded, and for the first time James saw a flicker of the boy he'd raised. It wasn't a fix, not yet, but it was a start. Back home, James sat with Ethan, going over the same advice he'd given before, this time with a heavier heart. "Respect, kid. It's everything. Don't ever forget it." Ethan grinned, oblivious to the storm. "I won't, Dad." Promised James, hoped, prayed he'd keep that promise. And as the Texas sun set, he held Laura close, vowing to keep teaching, keep loving, keep fighting for his family, no matter how hard the lessons got. "Not real?" James roared. "You broke her trust, Noah. You hurt her. That's as real as it gets." Noah's defiance crumbled, but he didn't apologize. James left him with one last order. "Don't come home until you're ready to own this, and mean it." Back home, James sat in the dark, the weight of failure crushing him. He'd given Ethan advice about respect, love, trust, but Noah hadn't learned it. Where had he gone wrong? Had he been too soft, too busy, too blind? Laura found him, her presence a quiet anchor. "We'll get through this," she said, her hand on his. "I don't know how," James admitted. "I don't know if he's still the kid we raised." "He's still ours," Laura said, "and he's not done growing." Part 4. The aftermath days turned to weeks, and the Harper house felt like it was holding its breath. Noah kept his distance, texting Laura sporadically, but avoiding James. Ethan, blissfully unaware of the full story, threw himself into skateboarding and school, his innocence a small comfort. Chloe, torn between loyalty to her brother and her friendship with Mia, started spending more time with Mia, who still came by to hang out. One afternoon, Mia showed up with a shy smile, holding James's favorite coffee mug. She locked eyes with Laura and said, "Abracadabra," before darting to the kitchen, giggling. Laura chased her, laughing, and for a moment, the house felt alive again. James watched, grateful for Mia's resilience, but his heart ached for Noah. He finally tracked Noah down at a local diner where his son was nursing a coffee, looking older than his years. They talked, not yelled for once. Noah admitted to the messages, the flirting, the pull of online voices that made him feel powerful, validated. He'd taken a job offer in Denver, a chance to start over. "I messed up, Dad," Noah said, his voice small. "I don't know how to fix it." James leaned forward, his anger tempered by hope. "You start by being honest. With Mia, with yourself. You've got a lot to unlearn, son, but you're not done yet." Noah nodded, and for the first time James saw a flicker of the boy he'd raised. It wasn't a fix, not yet, but it was a start. Back home, James sat with Ethan, going over the same advice he'd given before, this time with a heavier heart. "Respect, kid. It's everything. Don't ever forget it." Ethan grinned, oblivious to the storm. "I won't, Dad." Promised James, hoped, prayed he'd keep that promise. And as the Texas sun set, he held Laura close, vowing to keep teaching, keep loving, keep fighting for his family, no matter how hard the lessons got. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for watching.